Boys High School. It was Rev'd Euba, principal Rev'd Boys High School. Was he for many years? Methodist Western Boys High School for 10 and 7 years. To principal Rob was faithful friend Elijah's woman to faith.
Mr. Chairman, my eminent guest, the Honorable Minister, I don't know if he's still with us. Then Mr. Femi Adesina, ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored. I have copies of this and we circulated around for you to go through. I'm deeply honored to share with you my perspective on the topic of today's discourse, which is religious tolerance, panacea to peaceful coexistence in Nigeria. The Rev'd Euba family example. It is with great humility and respect for the memory of Reverend Benjamin Mokoda Euba that I attempt to dissect this subject, knowing with full appreciation the great sacrifice that he made and the immense courage he exhibited in bringing forth such a trailblazing institution, Eko Boys High School, that has remained a testimony to the values he espoused. This serves as a constant reminder to us as a nation to coexist with one another irrespective of our differences, including as it relates to our religious diversity. The two key words in the topic before us are religion and tolerance. First, I wish to identify what religion is, and we borrow from social anthropology, which sees the phenomenon as a dichotomy between the sacred and the profane. Please, may I have some peace there? There's a lot of noise at the back. Please, there's a lot of noise at the back. We can't hear ourselves. Tolerance, on the other hand, is the ability or readiness to tolerate the existence of opinions or behavior contrary to one's. Let me define religious tolerance as the ability by people to recognize and respect the cosmology and worldview of others. In other words, the appreciation of the spiritual values, beliefs, and practice which are different from your own. According to research by the University of Michigan, there are an estimated 10,000 distinct religions globally. The Pew Research Center found that 84% of world's population is affiliated with Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, or some form of folk religion. The platform also submits that the religiously unaffiliated demographic includes those who do not identify with any particular religion, atheists and agnostics. In Nigeria, we have two dominant religions, Christianity and Islam. But we also have a sizable number of those who subscribe to traditional religion alongside these publicly professed faiths. Where there may be different religious faiths, what is not in doubt is that despite differences and sometimes sharp disagreement on spiritual grounds, there are nevertheless features that are common to these religions. For example, most religious faiths believe in the existence of one universal supreme being who presides over the affairs of humans and the entire world. They also believe in the institution of priesthood, the observance of a regular period of sanctification through setting one's self aside in solemn contemplation and of fasting, sharing beliefs with the uninitiated with a view to winning them into their fold, and when one dies, after sojourning in this world, living an afterlife. With these commonalities between religious faiths, one wonders as to where there's so much intolerance between their respective adherents. In Nigeria, and from the time of independence, there have often been bouts of outright violence between people of different faiths. It is said that the origin of religious violence in the country can be traced back to 1953, and while exact figures of these that have been killed due to this phenomenon from that time is debatable, what is not in doubt is that the figure runs into the hundreds of thousands, while those displaced runs into millions of persons. There is also a report of several acts of violence visited on people of the same religious affiliation, but of different denominations, signposting the fact that religious intolerance is not only demonstrated against people of other faiths. A society that wishes to grow and excel must have visionaries who can mobilize such community of people to rise above primordial sentiments. We should be able to conduct and weld ourselves into one in order to unleash God-given potential for development. Nigeria has been fortunate to have such people in diverse fields, and the late Reverend Benjamin Euba unarguably ranks as one of the most distinguished patriots. The Reverend gentleman saw beyond a religious intolerance of his era and recognized the threat posed to the well-being of nascent Nigeria that was emerging from the clutches of British colonialism. In particular, he was distraught by the discrimination and racism practiced by the white missionaries who owned and ran Methodist Boys High School, then called Methodist Wesleyan Boys High School. As we all know, the strong point of divergence between Reverend Euba and his erstwhile colleagues inspired him into establishing Eko Boys High School, January 13, 1913, on the present-day Broad Street, just right across the road from the present-day Methodist Boys High School. The Reverend gentleman opened the doors of the new school wide open to people of all faiths, including mostly Muslims, who hitherto had difficulties gaining admission into 3 out of the 4 existing schools pre-1913. For the records, these schools were CMS Grammar School, founded 1859. Methodist Boys High School, founded 1878. Baptist Academy, founded 1885. King's College, founded 1909. Eko Boys High School came thereafter in 1913 to become the 5th boys' school and the 6th secondary school in Lagos, with the inclusion of Methodist Girls High School, which was founded 1878, which was then the only girls' secondary school. For record purposes, Eko Boys High School was also the 15th oldest institution in Nigeria. To impress on you what a great man Rev'd Euba was, please permit me to do a lot of some statistics, which I unwittingly omitted in the course of preparing this paper. Eko Boys High School is the 59th oldest secondary school in the whole of Africa. Are you going to clap? And ranks 24th oldest secondary school south of the Sahara and north of River Limpopo. Eko Boys High School thus became the only secondary school that was generous to people of other faiths and beliefs, including Muslims, atheists, and agnostics. To people of Muslim faith, Eko Boys High School was seen as theirs since the first Muslim secondary school in the whole of southern Nigeria and Saudi Comprehensive College, OTA, was not established until 1946, 33 years after Eko Boys High School. The establishment of this school opened the floodgates to 2 more Muslim schools. We came in rapid succession. Ahmadiyya College, Agege, in 1948, and Muslim College, Ijebu-Ode, in 1950. It is not surprising, therefore, that most of the Muslim notables of the period were trained, nurtured, and groomed by this great institution. Among the first set of students was the late Hollywood actor Orlando Martins, who was a thoroughbred Muslim. I'm able to say that I'm a very proud alumnus of Eko Boys High School. I count myself very fortunate to have been admitted in 1968 under the tutelage of the very cerebral and astute Reverend gentleman and first-class educationist, Reverend Akinwumi Akinwale Adeshola of blessed memory. Reverend Adeshola was very meticulous and imbibed into us spirits of self-pride, togetherness, and the love for mankind and humanity. A case in point was a compulsory weekly contribution by all students. This was termed SDF, Self-Denial Fund. Most of my seniors and classmates will remember Self-Denial Fund. The purpose of this fund was donation to charities in Nigeria, irrespective of tribal and religious affiliation. Rev'd Euba followed the principle of the late Reverend Adeshola, followed the principle of late Rev'd Euba to the letter. I never for once interacted my schoolmates on the basis of their respective religious affiliation. In my first year in 1968, 60 students were admitted and distributed in 2 arms, Class 1A and Class 1B. Although Eko Boys High School was a Methodist faith-based school, I can state categorically that over a third of the students in my set were of the Muslim extraction and faith. Others were Christians or different denominations, while we have atheists and agnostics. Well, to the big one. I remember vividly, we had a classmate who openly professed to be an idol worshiper, that is Babalawo, and was so brazen about it that we as kids were so meek around him and treated him with fear and respect, believing in his capability of striking us down with curses and voodoos. Despite all our differences, we were raised and trained to respect each other with compassion. We all loved and believed in our great school, and always at the top of our voices, at the slightest provocation, shouting, "In Domino," a Latin word for "In God we trust." Yes, "In Domino Confidimus," forever shall tune our song. "In Domino Confidimus" shall remain forevermore the motto of Eko Boys High School. The late Rev'd Euba was indeed an enigma. To have taken the bold and courageous step of establishing the first private non-denominational secondary school in Nigeria. We need our patriots across all fields and faiths to live the example set by the Reverend Gentleman to salvage our country and return her to the path of growth and greatness. Let us all leave this lecture with a renewed commitment to practice what Rev'd Euba preached and believed in. I encourage you all to spread this message of love wherever you may be. It's also important to spread the philosophy of accommodation, peace, and coexistence to others so that together we may build a better world. May the Almighty give us the wisdom we need to fly high and live in a better world of peace. I thank you all for your attention. God bless you all.
Can we all be upstanding, please, and give him a rounding applause, please?
O God of robbers and Yuba, to thee we